Okay, so I wanted to show some of the sourcing that we're going to do here, as well as how to make some of these annotations, as well as just going to go over the sources and give you an idea of what it is that I'm looking for and what they're saying. So we have our guiding question. It says questions. I'll change that right now. Question. Up at the top, what were the exact ways Jim Crow laws impacted Black Southerners? So as I said at the beginning video, we're looking at just like the what. Tomorrow we'll look at the how. So to help us with this, our first source selected Jim Crow laws from Southern states and cities 1891 to 1930. That should automatically set some bells off in your head, because these right here, it just tells us, are some actual laws. Okay, these are straight up some of the laws in the area at the time. So examples of laws. And you see I just click this to make a note. I can make this comment, and I can always come back to this later to help me out. I see a lot of you make these types of comments. These are really, really good. They're quick for you to come back to. The one thing I'll push is if you're making these comments, make sure you actually use them, right? You're taking the time to put in this sweet little thing on the side that you can look at really quickly. Make sure you come back to it. Okay. Now, if we're going to look at laws, right, what is the point of a law would be our first thought. So immediately we should think like to keep order, right, to make sure that people follow rules. Well, sure, right, but the rules, is the rule for, or the laws in California going to be the exact same in, say, I'm trying to pick a random country without it being weird, like Estonia? No, right? The laws for California and the laws for, say, Estonia are very different. They're completely different country, or California's in the U.S., so it's part of a different country, and Estonia's its own country, right? They're going to have different values. So laws, ultimately, right, they're not the same everywhere. They reflect an area's values. They show what one particular spot is, the place that makes these laws, what they believe in, and what they think is important and worth defending. So as we look at that, we can see, okay, if that's what we know going in, then what are the Southerners' value? We should already have an idea given what we've learned about. To build on that, if I wanted to look here and I see this date, 1891 to 1930, first off, it's a big range of time, right? Oh, stop playing with my cord. It's a long range of time, okay? But secondly, the start date, stop playing with my cord. The start date is after something very important that we talked about, which hopefully we can remember. All after Plessy versus Ferguson, right? So that was that court case that we talked about, not last week, 2 weeks ago, where it was basically saying that the Supreme Court thinks it's okay to have separate but equal, which leads us to our final connection, right? So if the laws are the values of an area, and we know that the South has these particular values, now the United States has come in and said, okay, well, your values of separate but equal and segregation are valid, right? That's basically what the government said with this court case. So now as a result, we're going to see them start to push this boundary and push this line about what's okay. So as we look, it shall be unlawful for a Negro and white person to play together or in company with each other in any game of card, dice, dominoes, or checkers. So right off the bat, the first law that you see is you can't play games together. I want you to be thinking like, well, why would that be important? Why would playing a game with somebody that's different than you, or that has a different experience than you, be something that the people in power don't want you to be able to do? As we move forward, no colored barber shall serve as a barber to white women or girls. Marriages are void when one party is a white person and the other is possessed of 1/8 or more Negro, Japanese, or Chinese. And now we're starting to see that same segregation come through not just with these former slaves, but with other groups of people as well. As we go on, we see more and more of these, okay? So if I wanted to give you a hint about like how I would be annotating this, I would separate it based on like the types of laws, right? So this would be, right, we're just going to do this part of it right here. We'll make our note, and we'll say limiting entertainment together. Boom. And if I can say this, we can actually kind of put it under a same thing, right? Now, I'm running out of time. This was a really quick amount of time, actually, so good luck. Reach out if you have any questions. I know it can be a little confusing. You're giving me the what. What was Jim Crow laws? Good luck.